हेलो दोस्तों, दिस इज बरकतुल। वेलकम टू हैक फॉर कोड। सो यार, आज हमारे साथ है सोहेल पठान। हाय सोहेल भाई, थैंक्स फॉर joining us and would you like to introduce yourself please?
Hi, Barkatul. Thanks for inviting me here, first of all. And yeah, hello, everyone. This is Sohil Patan. I'm currently a developer advocate at apyhub. About apyhub, we are a developer API utility build and helping developers to get an awareness about utilities as a service. And yeah, and that's what where my role comes to play, to help the developers as well.
Yeah, that sounds interesting and सबसे पहले क्या है कि सबसे ज्यादा पूछे जाने वाला सवाल, बहुत छोटा सवाल है, बहुत इजी है, बट इट्स द मोस्ट आस्क्ड क्वेश्चन, राइट? कि क्या है डेवरल? व्हाट इज डेवरल? प्लीज शो सम लाइट ऑन दिस क्वेश्चन।
ठीक है। आई थिंक बहुत ही बार पूछा है लोगों ने ये क्वेश्चन, मुझे मुझे तो कई बार पूछा है। And internet pe, I think there are a lot of answers regarding that, but I would like to convey my own answers here, what DevRel is to me actually. So you know DevRel stands for developer relations, and whenever we say a relation, there is a connection between one side to another side, right? So let's say there is a product, right? For a product, there will be always consumers, right? Who will gonna buy, who will gonna use it, right? uh, and there is a person, or you can say there is some entity which actually needs to connect both of them, right? So if I want to show by example something, or like show you exactly how I see a developer relations, is always about connection between two things. You can say two entities, and the person who plays the major role over there in connecting both of them, or helping to achieve, this is where the developer relations come. So it's always about cultivating the relationship, and positive, I would say, positive relationship between the consumer and as well as producer. Yeah.
दैट्स प्रीटी गुड आंसर। आई होप कि ये जिन लोगों का भी डाउट्स था डेवरल क्या है वो क्लियर कर दिया होगा। एंड डेवरल के अंदर में बहुत सारी कैटेगरीज आती है, बहुत सारी रोल्स आती है। तो वो सारी रोल्स के बारे में अगर आप कुछ बताना चाहे, अंडर डेवरल, डेवलपर एडवोकेट यू आर एट एपीवाई हब, एंड सो वो चीज के ऊपर प्लीज।
All right. So I say DevRel is actually a big umbrella. ठीक है. Uh, Sometimes and DevRel is just not limited to tech stuff, in at least in today's time, right? I have seen multiple non-tech companies, or you can say no code tools as well, who are actually hiring the DevRel, who have a actually legitimate team of DevRel, right? So there are various functions that needs to be done under the umbrella of developer relations, and for each function and each responsibility, I would say there is an assigned designation, एक designation assign किया हुआ है उस चीज। तो अगर हम स्टार्ट करते, if I talk about myself, what I do as a developer advocate, it's basically define strategies, define pathways with respect to reaching out to developer communities, reaching out to the you can say customers, or you can say the users, specifically the users of the apyhub, and letting them know, okay, how I'm going to solve your problem, right? How I can help you to achieve the most, irrespective of whatever you have doing previously, right? It's always about add-on, right? So being a developer advocate, I listen to them. I always listen to them, and try to find out, okay, how my product will be able to solve their need. And if it's solving, that's great. I would love to give them a more clarity, helping them to implement that stuff in their solution. And if not, it always about telling my team to, hey, I think we can add this. We got the feedback from this person or user,
Right.
uh, and we think that we can actually solve that, right? So the developer advocate, it's an all-rounder. They have to work on community, they have to work on uh, content, and you have to work on a lot of stuff, right? There is a lot of things that developer advocate has to do. And I think that comes in the very top section of developer relations. And I think the second role, which I have seen multiple times, I'm talking about the tech companies as of now, who are focused on developer tools, I believe. Then there is a developer relations engineer, right? The person who's, I think the most of the time, the person is responsible for generating the content, such as product demos, writing an articles, writing the documentations as well, right? Making an announcement with respect to the developer community. Okay, whatever the community they have, or we can say they were serving on, for them, generating the content is basically comes under the developer relation engineer. I believe so, right? Uh, and after that, developer marketer, there is another position which I have seen multiple times is developer marketer. And developer marketer is basically the role where you analyze your target audience, understand their persona, and then give them give them that kind of content, or we can say, gain their attraction towards your product. So when we say a market, it's always about promoting things to the target customers in the segments, right? Um, and when we say there is a community, the community manager is mostly associated with that particular role, right? So let's say you have a very good developer community, the people who are actually using your products, engaging on the daily basis, to keep them engaged, to listen to their queries, or to resolve that in very short period of time. Or you can say that there's always a listener, so that entity becomes the community manager, who is responsible for listening to the users and giving them the content, giving them opportunities as well, and always like achieve the objective of keeping the community engaged. And I think that's the foremost role comes to the community manager, because I have been a before developer advocate, I have been a community manager for 2.5 years, and this was all about my roles and responsibilities, I guess so. And then there are similar roles which comes with it depends on the company what kind of designation title, or you can say title, they are making. A developer evangelist have very common objectives, I believe as well. So yeah, these are all the roles which I have think comes under the developer relations umbrella.
Yeah, that's really a crystal clear description of all the roles under DevRel, right? So, Sohail bhai, what inspired you to become a developer advocate? I mean, when you think like this is gonna be something like I want to be, and what do you enjoy most about your role right now at apyhub as a developer advocate? Like, please show some light on your journey. We would love to hear your story. Please go ahead.
Okay, I mean, that's really interesting. And for me, getting into the DevRel, and specifically the developer advocate, it's a pure accidental journey. So it started out from my college itself, when I was preparing my engineering, and you can say, the person who always been kind of sitting under you can say in front of 16-inch screen, coding, and always trying to let the people know, hey, do this, do that, and that will gonna help you. Kind of geeky nerd, you can say. I have been kind of that person before. Uh, Over the period of time, when so first of all, when you try to explore all the stuff, and you comes under the very surface area of that, ठीक है, जहां पर तुम्हें सारी चीजें बहुत अच्छी लगने लगती है कि हाँ यार ये तो हो जा रहा है, चलो इससे ही करियर बना लेंगे करके. तो I started out as a developer itself. I have been a mobile application developer. I used to work on Android. And over the period of time, when I got a little deep, it always takes time. That's all it takes. I can say that. I understood, okay, something right now as a developer, what I'm doing is sitting in front of 16-inch screen and doing coding. And being an extrovert guy, I found, okay, this is not something my fit, right? कि ये मुझे ये एक्साइट नहीं कर रहा, ठीक है, मुझे अच्छा लग रहा है, ठीक है, अच्छा लगने में और एक्साइट करने में बहुत जमीन आसमान का फर्क है मेरे ख्याल से, दैट आई हैव
Of
लर्न.
course.
तो coding was a really fun for me, but being a software engineer, or you can say full-time developer, didn't seems to me very exciting, right? And I can say this is not just because of you can say because there is a lot of thing has been there which I have saw on the dev side of DevRel. It's not, I think at some point I understood, okay, when you try to build the logic and something, I am not able to going to I think I'm stuck in somewhere, right? So this has been, and that's why. But I always been a part of community, right? In the college, I formed one community. I still know that there was one meetup that we were organized, and there were speakers who came forward. They were speaking, they were sharing their journey, and I think that was the first point when I understood, okay, this looks exciting, right? This is something where I want to be. Because they were sharing their knowledge, their experiences, which they have actually not learned from the book, but actually did something and came out of it that, right? That's a pure experience someone can share from
Absolutely.
you can say their experience, right? So that was thing. And then I was definitely someone who loved to share the knowledge. Whatever I used to build, I read to either write it or maybe going into the class, telling the friends, hey, I just did that. Kind of a braggy nature, but I understood over the time, okay, these are the skills, or you can say these are the thing which actually align to one of the roles, right? Writing things, telling people what to do, you can say how to do stuff, and having a good experience in coding and everything. तो जब आज मैं डेवरेल के अगर रिक्वायरमेंट्स देखता हूँ तो ये सारी चीजें वहां पर अलाइन
मैच
करती है
कर
थोड़ी
रही
बहुत,
है।
right? So that's how I basically I never wanted to be. I never, I think, after even completing my graduation, and I never thought I'll be a developer relations. I heard about the role, but I never thought I'll be a proper DevRel. But I started out my journey with one of the edtech startup, and I started as a community manager intern, right? So basically I was helping the students to gain the you can say gain the knowledge, or you can say expertise in competitive programming, problem solving, data structures, and algorithm. So having being in a tech company, but the role was non-tech for me, right? And that's how I understood the definition of DevRel. Okay, this is being in a tech but not doing actual coding, right? So then I started out with the writing stuff. uh, uh, from attending meetups to going into the meetups and speaking was one step, you can say, further. And slowly it has been understood that, okay, this is something I'm understanding what my passion lies over there. And then that's how the accidental journey has become into the developer relations properly. So from community manager to developer relations engineer, and from developer relations engineer to a developer advocate. So this is you can say this is a graph. You can understand how I got into the DevRel. When I was a community manager, I didn't knew there is a proper team or field that exists with respect to the developer relations. But then after having a 2.5 years of experience as a community manager, I somehow got the skill that requires to be a DevRel, and then I got into that. So you never know where we're gonna turn up, and this is how been the experience for me as well, right?
Like your accidental journey is something like inspirational journey for us, like many of us. So that's really interesting and inspiring as well. Like बहुत सारी ऐसा मिथ्स बना हुआ है एक कम्युनिटी में बोल सकते हैं या ऑल अराउंड, जो लाइक है ना कि डेवरल इज ऑल अबाउट मार्केटिंग, और यू कैन से डेवरल इज जस्ट अ पीआर रोल, या डेवरल इज ओनली फॉर ओपन सोर्स कंपनीज, या आई वुड से बिग कंपनीज, लार्ज कंपनीज, या एक है ना डेवरल इज नॉट फॉर टेक्निकल पर्सन, कि टेक्निकल बंदों के लिए नहीं है, जो नॉन टेक्निकल फील्ड में जाना चाहते हैं वो डेवरल के लाइन में जाते हैं। तो हाउ डू यू एड्रेस देम? आई एम श्योर आपसे भी ये सब सवाल पूछा गया होगा या आपने भी ये चीज फेस किया होगा, तो हाउ डू यू एड्रेस दिस क्वेश्चंस प्लीज?
Uh, so talking about myths, or I can say myths is somewhere I see misunderstanding. So you get just because of you read something and you don't understood exactly the meaning of that, or you can say don't go into the deeper knowledge. Uh, that's how I think this works, right? So क्योंकि एक definition है ना, आधा आधा अधूरा knowledge बहुत ज्यादा
बहुत
सेहत के लिए
हानिकारक।
हानिकारक होता है.
करेक्ट।
So myths is the first is it's a marketing role. I would say yes. But it highly depend on the companies. Like it highly depend on the company, right?
एब्सोल्युटली।
Because I previously mentioned that uh, you can say that now today the DevRel is not just limited to a company which is producing the product for developers,
करेक्ट।
right? Right. Uh, the things has been evolved so much. Not everyone can hire the engineering teams. Not everyone can spend a lot. Even say if someone wants to start something out, there has been a really good no code tools available, which let someone who have a little sound understanding of tech thing, right, can go and start to build something out of this, right? But ultimately, it is serving to something called as development, right? You are developing something. So with that being said, if it depends on the company. So whenever you join for the DevRel, company has a proper objectives, goal, and vision defined for the particular role. Okay, I would love to share my story, how how I
या
come,
प्लीज।
in what particular umbrella and everything I come at AppyHub.
प्लीज।
But before that, I would say there is no there is no answer for this question, right? It highly depend on the company where you are actually going to work. If
करेक्ट।
it's building SDKs, it's building APIs, if it's building developer tools, it is mostly you can say most probably there is a chances that the developer relations teams comes under the intersection of engineering and marketing, right?
करेक्ट।
Or maybe engineering and product. And if there is a company who are no code one, this is an example which is not actually serving a very high concentration on the developers. These are the companies I would say will be most focused on the marketing, or you can say PR role, right? So at the end, a DevRel has to listen to the consumer of the product. Okay, doesn't matter if it's tech and not tech.
करेक्ट।
You have to build a relationship with them. So the consumer can be, you can say, user, promoter of your product, the product one, or you can say anyone who knows about you and who's trying to add your product into some of the solutions, right? So your role as a DevRel then comes into the in you can say in that particular play where you have to serve the requirement, and you have to connect between the company and the user, right? uh, People even contract this definition with product manager, like, okay, this is somewhat similar to the product manager. But I believe yes, I definitely, and that's why I think that product, you should have a product mindset as well when you actually getting into the DevRel, because this you don't know what vertical you're gonna serve, right?
करेक्ट।
So it's always good to listen from the example. So at AppyHub, my role is basically more focused with engineering teams and as well as marketing, right? Because for a lot of companies, sometimes developer relations has different channel for an acquisition as well, right? When we say an
करेक्ट।
acquisition, taking the users on the platform itself, right? So a marketing people can be a tech people or can be a non-tech people. So if it's a non-tech people, they need someone to understand, or you can to formulate, or you can compile the knowledge of tech thing and give it to the non-tech people, right? So marketing
राइट।
is a non-tech, marketing is a pure non-tech, and engineering people who are actually building the product, you have to be sometimes a mid person to let the both department help and understand that what are we actually going to tell to the user, right?
राइट।
So in social media, we can't write the words which we use on the engineering teams, right? We have to write for the people who can understand that, right? So here comes the marketing thing. But since the users are actually the developers or the software engineers, you comes into the foreplay, because you will, since you are a tech person, you will be able to get their requirement, or you can say you will be able to communicate better with them, right? So there are two different channels, I would say. For the company, it depends on the company, that a developer relations can be a different channel. And if this is a different channel, that means you are targeting to users. And if you are targeting to users, basically you are promoting the product, and that's how the PR role comes into the picture, right? So yeah, that's all. So helping the users is always a primary responsibility of the DevRel. Rest of the
Correct.
thing can be, just
Depends on
can be
company to
in
company.
the consideration. Yeah, totally depends. But it totally depends on what company you are going to work with, and what the set of rules, or not rules, but what the set of vision they have defined for their particular role. And I would
Correct.
say, whenever you are interviewing for the DevRel role, it's high it's high probability that recruiter will ask you what your vision, you can say, what are you trying to achieve with respect to this role. But if you get an opportunity to ask them in which vertical, or you can say in what kind of people I'm going to work with, or you can say serve my expertise with, you need to ask which department you're gonna work with, right? So if
Correct.
it's pure marketing, then the responsibilities will be different. If it's pure engineering, then only I think the person who have a coding experience, or who have been a previously a developer, most likely they will work with them. Yeah, or you can say he or she will work with them. But I've seen in major companies is always work with you can say concatenation of the different departments. For me, it's product, marketing, and engineering. For other companies, for maybe you can say no good companies, it's probably just marketing, or maybe just product, or maybe just an engineering. So it's a lot of variety, or you can say diversity with respect to this role.
Like overall, it's always depends on company to company, right? And I
It always depends on companies for what purpose, or for what specific objective they are recruiting the developer relations person.
Yeah, that's great to hear. Your experience and insights are really, really valuable. So, Sohailbhai, what would you say? Like, what are some of the key skills and qualities that are necessary for for a success? If मतलब अगर कोई डेवरल के लिए अगर पूछे कि हाँ यार क्या क्या चीजें होनी चाहिए, लाइक सम स्किल्स, सम क्वालिटीज, ये तो मस्ट है, चाहे आप किसी भी कंपनी में जा रहे हो, नो कोड हो या टोटली टेक्निकल हो, बट ये स्किल्स तो कंपलसरी है. सो वो क्या स्किल्स है, क्या क्वालिटीज है, उसके बारे में अगर कुछ बताना चाहे प्लीज, आपके एक्सपीरियंस के हिसाब से.
Yeah, it's really a good question, and I have a really prompt suggestion for the with respect to skills. I think the first and the very primary thing, which even you guys can note, right? You have to be really good at communication. Okay, the communication skills is very much needed in this role.
प्लस वन.
Because when we say relations, yeah, when you say relations, a relations has been made when you talk to someone, right? When you know someone, when you talk to someone, right? So to talk, you need communication skills, right? So the communication skill is very, very important in this. Uh, and in DevRel, you have to write a lot as well, right? So microblogging thing. But when you define the strategy, when you want to present something to to your stakeholders, or maybe your managers, you have to write what you have in your mind, and you have to understand how you will be able to present to them, right? So when you are presenting, you need communication skills, and when you are drafting the presentation, you need writing skills, right? So I
राइटिंग
would say
स्किल्स.
this is the most commonly skills that you need to communicate better, and you know how to write things. Third, other than that, this might be a contractory statement, but I would say you have to be a good person who can speak on the stage. Yeah, I mean the stage daring, right? You should have the stage daring, because anyway you are going to either speak in either in virtual form, or you can say in person form. So whenever you are speaking in front of a large amount of audience, maybe under a single roof, You should have a confidence to go on the stage and confidently talk about your product, and always always and always take a feedback. Doesn't matter if it's wrong or right, but you have to understand, okay, this is something that I need to improve. It's always about improving things. This is the skill set I would say you should have. And then with respect to the role, if you are going to serve with specific like a developer tools, uh, technical understanding is needed, right? You should have a little background of developing applications. For me, I actually relate a lot of with APIs, because when either you are a front-end developer, web developer, back-end developer, front-end developer, back-end developer, like comes under the web developer umbrella, right? And then you can say mobile developers, all of them have to serve with these APIs. And I have been using APIs in the back-end stuff, right? So I had this pretty much knowledge, but I got it. I got to get a deep diving into this particular field when I got entered into the role. So, but having that background gave me a verge, you can say, helped me to grab things better and quickly. So, if you are specifically targeting to the dev companies, I would say having a developer experience is always good. Okay, and there's always bandwidth of learning. So it's not like if you don't know that tech stuff, you can't go into these tools. It's
Absolutely.
always about, if you think that you can do it, then do, right? Then do and prove to others that I can do it, right? So this is I think that's more than sufficient for the person as a DevRel itself, because I think my day-to-day job hovers around this, all the activities that I do. So I can say, yeah, these are all the skills you need to be good at.
Yeah, I have seen you. You are very good at stage. Like, we have met once at Cloud Community Days, maybe.
It
DevFest.
was, I think it was DevFest Kolkata. Yeah, it was
DevFest
the
Kolkata.
DevFest Kolkata.
Yeah,
Yeah, I got an opportunity to speak over there on one of the Web3 topics. So, yeah, and
and
I think this has been very important. A person who had never, I think going into the stage and speaking could be a nightmare for me when I was in college. A very shy kind of person, but yeah, it's always about improving cent by cent, right?
absolutely.
You always try to improve. I used to go in front of mirror to speak. I used to talk with my parents. I used to talk with my friends. So that's how I came onto that. There's no shortcut of doing something
It's always practice.
delightful, right? Yeah, this you always have to improve every day. This is I think this is the only option. If someone is saying that, hey, just prepare this stuff and go on the stage, I'm telling you, it will either will get screwed, or you will lose confidence for large amount of time if you
Absolutely.
can't able to do that, right? So I always say, start from small, uh, try to be go one step further, and at the end of the day, you have to be good, right?
There's no shortcut for that. Yeah, absolutely. So, we will wrap up this interesting podcast with the last advice. Like, what advice would you give to someone who is like, as you have said, that you got into developer advocate by accidentally, right? But if someone is watching our podcast and is like hoping or something, want to get a role at DevRel, so what advice would you give to that person, please?
An advice to the person who wants to get into the DevRel, uh, ask yourself two questions. The one is, why DevRel? Okay. And the second question would be, will is it going to be aligned with what I want? Right. So this is the two question. If you are asking yourself honestly,
And it's more
and
than enough.
yeah, honestly, that's more than enough to get the understanding, right? And I think it doesn't matter just to the DevRel. I think in every position, if you love your job, if you love what you do, you will going to do it very you can say very promptly, very happily. Like you will always try to do research on that. Like it's you can say it's the one thing that I understood. If you are not interested about something, you will push yourself to do that, and at certain point of time, you will give up. That
You end
okay,
up
this is
doing
not
it.
my feed. I understood this because of I understood because I was not good into the development stuff, right? Uh, but meanwhile the time I understood what I'm good at and is this something that gonna align with my vision, then I think this is where the role came to me. But I always say, ask yourself why you want to go into the DevRel, and is it something that you gently want to do or not, right? Otherwise don't I would say explore and find out what do you think. If you are a good developer, uh, I think there's a lot of opportunity. If you are a good marketer, doesn't matter if you done your engineering and people are saying, hey, being in tech role, why you are going into the marketing. You can see I have seen a lot of people who are from the engineering background and are really top-notch marketers, right?
And they're doing really
Not
good.
they are really really good, right? They're having a really good experience and understanding the persona, understanding the people, and giving them that exact uh, match. This is how the marketing is all about, right? So I would say just answer these
Ex-
two questions and you will be able to get your thing on the place.
and don't stop exploring as well.
Yeah, never married to one particular technology, right? Always try to explore. I explore daily on the basis. I even tried going into developing Web3 applications. I found it interesting, right? So I'm exploring a lot of things. Doesn't matter which is aligned to my role or not, but always explore. Maybe sometimes you will get into the conversation and who knows that you will be able to contribute the opinions over there.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah. So
Right. I mean, that's has been my overall journey and experiences till this year, till this time, and looking forward to help people. If you really wants to be in the DevRel, I would say there are a lot of knowledge items there, but I think you need to first of all understand why you want to go into the DevRel, and then if you want. You can refer to the resources and come out to the people who are actually the developer relations. They are I think there is a community of developer relations buddies who are ready to help you you can say with the opinions, with the experiences and everything. And I think that's how the guys like you are doing, making a content on the podcast. You can say making a podcast on the people who are getting into who are into the dev. So that's all. I'd say follow the real experiences, not the fake thing. Okay, there's always good and bad side of everything. So if
absolutely
you are just influencing by the good thing, don't do that. Understand, go into the deeper level and understand what it takes to be that person.
correct. Like I have seen half of the tech Twitter is DevRel community, I would say. Maximum. So
Yeah, I would say that, but it's good, right? I mean, uh, because the developer relations itself a very new field. Okay, uh, uh, there's not but you can say a very detailed description with respect to the one role, or you can say a complex definition, right? So if you're creating the knowledge, if you're creating the content that actually gonna help the community, that's well and good. But I
absolutely
have seen people as well who are trying to be an aspiring DevRel, but try to contributing to opinions as well, right? So I would say yes, that's very good. That's if this is one thing that a DevRel do, sharing the knowledge, but gain your personal experience and then share. It would be much better rather than just copying pasting other stuff and trying to include the influence, right?
and it
So not kind of a hate, or you can say hard feelings, is about people would love to know the real life, or you can say real story, rather than just having, you can say you can say a book,
a
right?
book, right? This is always about giving back to the community. Like it's it's pretty good.
Always.
Like everyone around the DevRel community is very supportive, very kind, and they are always up for you to help. Just all you just need is to ask them, ask what you need to ask. Like, so
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. If you take the step to ask, there are only two possibilities: you'll get the answer, you will not, right? So, and I would say in most of the cases you'll get the answers,
yeah,
right? So just take that one step.
yeah. That's so. Yeah, Sohel bhai, thanks for coming. Your experience and insights are very, very, very helpful for us, for the community, and for the whole DevRel ecosystem. So that's all from this side. I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to follow Sohail Pathan. The link of his Twitter profile is in the description below. Till then, keep growing.